No mess ups before we get something good and lose it. Okay, here we go. Right there and right on top of it. You want to just start talking. Go ahead. Where you at? Where we? You like the bando? What's up?
Yeah, the bando's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Feels good to be that first, that first interview inside the bando.
Well,
All right. I'm feeling the vibe.
yeah,
feeling the
yeah.
vibe.
I should have lit my incense and stuff, but we cool. This is the first episode, so once I get it together, it'll be a real dope experience. This is gonna be a dope interview. I just want to know, tell the people about yourself, cousin.
Well, born and raised here in LA. Grew up, was born in Pacoima, California.
That's right, Packtown.
Packtown. Yeah. And grew up in the San Fernando Valley most of my life. And then from there, moved out to Atlanta. Stayed in Atlanta for about 3 years. Had to fight a lot out there because, I was coming from the West Coast. And at that particular time, they wasn't really feeling us brothers. We was part of that first migration.
I know. I remember that because I remember coming down there in the summer. That shit was fun.
Because when you go to the South, they always say, like, why y'all talk so
proper?
Yeah.
Why y'all talk so proper?
So that's where I learned shawty and all that,
Mm-hmm.
But, I tested shorty, and they be like, oh, man. So, but from there, stayed out there for really through, I'd say like a couple years of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, came back to Pasadena, finished up high school, John Muir Mustang all day.
Wow.
Muir in the house. But went to John Muir High School, finished up my senior year there. And then from there, started out going to college, went to college at Valley College for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Me and one of my good friends, and we found ourselves being up at CSUN a lot. Mothers, And so then from there, I decided that, hey, I needed some change in life. Some change in life. Just got tired of running around, I mean, school was cool and everything, but I just felt like I wanted some direction.
Yeah.
Of what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, decided to join the Navy.
Which was crazy.
Yeah,
that was so crazy. After being under my uncle, who is the most military person ever,
man.
like BFFC, like we're gonna have him on the show one day. But if you meet my uncle, and then he would make you never want to go to the military because this fool is worse than the military. But this dude decided to go to the military after being under his reign. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But what happened? Like, it was a dope experience. What happened after that?
Well, it was actually it was quite an experience. When I first started out, I was in San Diego. For some reason, I saw that movie Top Gun with
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's what makes you go to the Navy, dude?
Hey, well, first of all, I just felt like, if I went to the Army, the Marines, I was like, man, I'm not about carrying no gun, and then I was thinking, like, what's my odds of surviving?
That's all you
Real talk, though. I'm
baby.
serious. I was like, man, what's my odds of surviving if I in the gun battle, with missiles and tanks and all that? I'm like, man. So I saw that big old aircraft carrier, and I saw Top Gun. I was like, you know what? I think that's what I want to do. Shit, I'm like, at least on my chance of surviving, they got to come out to that water. The big USA holding it down out there on that water right now. But man, on that combat, I think maybe I played Call of Duty too much or something like that. But I was like, bro, I don't know if Call of Duty was out back then, but still, I guess growing up in LA, you already know.
Yeah, it was already
straight
a
bullet
war.
would hit you. So I'm like, now you better put me out there in war?
No.
I'm like, what is this gun gonna do against that tank?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, no.
On that water, that's a different story.
Yeah,
so from there, joined the Navy, started out, I think I came in like as an E1, like the basic. I did pretty good on my ASVAB, but I started out at E1, and so from there they were like, okay, went to boot camp, got
trap boot camp.
Yeah, went to boot camp, and that was like a reality. That was my first time ever being like away from my family for like 60 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was in San Diego, so you sit inside and it's like you in this fence doing these duties and all that, and then you looking outside, you see the cars pass, you see people walking by,
you be like,
people with their girlfriends, you be like, oh man, I'm stuck. And but it was a good experience though. But from in there, I actually got meritoriously promoted. So
you did what?
I got promoted in boot camp.
Okay.
So I basically had a staff position.
Oh, you was a good boy.
Yeah. So. I think that was the start of it.
Yeah.
And actually, it's kind of crazy because I was the yeoman for our class.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean, only?
A yeoman?
Yeoman, yeah. What's that?
Basically, it's like an admin guy. You're an administrator.
Oh.
So at that particular time, that's what I got. I was the administrator for our particular class that was going through.
Oh, okay.
And it's kind of crazy because later on down the road, that's what I ended up becoming, as a career, once I got in the military. But my first tour was in San Diego. And worked on an aircraft carrier. Actually worked as a plane captain.
Oh, okay.
So I worked on the flight deck. And during my time in San Diego, that was the first time I really got a chance to see about life. I mean, when you grew up in LA and everything, it's one thing.
Yeah.
When you see a lot of the, the drama that goes out in the inner city.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, we was kind of blessed where we had a taste of both worlds.
Right.
So. My transition into the military wasn't really difficult for me.
Right. Well, shit, no, it shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I mean, if you live with Uncle Black, then you already
know.
You
was ready. You was ready.
Yeah, so all the yelling, screaming, all that, it didn't bother me. So
yeah.
I think that really helped me to prepare me for as I really had knowledge of myself and who I was as a black man.
Yeah, yeah.
And at the time in high school when I was really going through that, and this is like in the days when X-Clan and everybody knows, like when I was walking around high school, I was a straight soldier for the cause.
Yeah,
PE.
for sure. That would be so dope for people to see that. Like, I need to find some of those pictures from BFFC.
Yeah. I mean, I know Unks talked about doing something with it, but at the time, we were just ahead of the time. I mean, we was doing Wake Up My Brother t-shirts, and all that, and going to the military wasn't even on my mind. I remember the time they called the draft or whatever, the select, they called the house, like, so you plan on entering the draft? And I was like,
hell no.
Like, or no, register, you got to register for the draft,
or
register, after high school.
Yeah.
And I wasn't thinking about I was going to do that.
Mm-mm.
So anyway, make it, fast or short. My first deployment went over to Operation Southern Watch, which was like right after Desert Storm. During that time, I think that was my first time I really experienced death real close to me.
Really?
Yeah, we actually had a ramp strike where one of our planes hit the back of the ship.
Oh, shit.
And one of the pilots ended up dying.
Did you know him?
Yeah, he was actually our supervisor or our lead supervisor.
Dang, really?
And so that right there was something that was rather dramatic for me. That was the first time where I'm far away from home.
Yeah.
We in the middle of the Indian Ocean. And to hear that plane hit where our berthing area was like right under the resting gear. So every time a plane would hit, you just hear this big old thump, and then you hear the gear cables. And so when that hit, it just sounded like a bunch of glass, just going across. And I just remember just the visions of having to really you do these damage control and boot camp with fire, stuff like that. But until you really in that situation,
yeah, man,
you don't know. It's a whole different ball game because you're in the middle of the ocean. It's all dark out there. You can't see nothing. If you fall off the side, they're not gonna catch you.
Mm-hmm.
So going through that and basically having to put the fire out, and then the next day finding out that one of the pilots that was actually the pilots had ejected. One of them went into the water. Luckily, was able to save him, but the other one actually ejected back onto the ship.
Oh, and he hit the ship?
Yeah, and he hit the plane.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was tough.
I know.
And that was the first time where I really was in a situation where it's like you saw it, you had paying for it, you mourned, but then you got to move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of the cycle of, okay, we got to move on. We got still a mission to do.
Yeah.
And when this happened, it was like in my, you got to think I'm 18 years old, man. I'm 19 years old.
Yeah, you ain't seen no
death
like that.
That's my first time, away from the USA. Period. I'm in the middle of the Indian Ocean, and something like that happens, and it's like, wow.
And do they give you guys time to mourn, or is it just like, all right, go to bed, wake your ass up, let's get back to business?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird because it's like it's almost like a floating city. You know what I mean? You got, what, 6,000 people?
Mm-hmm.
Damn near on the ship. I don't know if it's 6. Maybe
6,000 people on the ship?
No, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. I think, but it's something. If I'm correct, I know it's a lot as far as the crew members. It's a lot that keep that thing, keep it moving the way it does.
Whoa.
But I guess the whole experience is like you're like a family, because this is where you live at. This is where you're gonna sleep at for the next 6 months. This is your home.
Yeah.
So you gotta be ready for anything. And so that experience really kind of made me grow real fast into a man, like it's real life out here.
Yeah.
When you're working on that flight deck, if a jet engine turns on you the wrong way and blows you off in the middle of the night,
that's it.
Ain't nobody gonna know you gone until it's time for everybody to get back together and they figure out like, hey, where's Marion at? But you've been blown off the ship because you weren't paying attention.
Shit.
So that's where I really kind of learned attention to detail. And that helped me for later on in life.
Yeah.
So you take these lessons and you learn from them. And so from there, after having that experience, one thing that was special about it was that we were like one of the first to actually integrate women into going out onto like combat ships. So we had the first female pilots, and
Do you remember their names?
Yep, Lieutenant Kara Holgren, rest in peace, because she ended up dying.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this is all during the time I was there, and there was another Lieutenant Taylor, and then there was another Lieutenant Taylor. She was a backup. She was basically sat in the back seat, but she was an African American woman, and she was part of that first, like, we had the first female pilots to join fighter squadrons, which were like, F-14 back then was the F-14 Tomcat, and so they were like the first women to integrate. And then we also had ship personnel that were females that were on the ship with us. So this was all a whole like new experience, for us at the time, as my tour, with the squadron. And so it was great. I mean, that from a psychological standpoint, I think kind of triggered a lot of things that I learned in life, but also from that experience, I mean, I traveled the world. I mean, I went to like Hong Kong, I've been to Singapore. Yeah. I've been able to get a different perspective on life just from being around other cultures. Yeah. Something that I didn't see, being in, just LA or being born and raised in LA. I mean, I went to Atlanta, but when you're outside of the USA period,
that's some other stuff though. Yeah,
it's a lot different. And so from having those opportunities to go there and going through the Middle East and go to Dubai before Dubai was Dubai, like it is today.
Yeah, it wasn't those nice, beautiful islands.
You're talking about like 113 degrees. Every day you out there. Now just imagine that, then being on top with jets turning with them jet engines all day. So now that temperature rises up, and then you got on goggles, face gear, and all that.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, that was hard.
That always sounds like some shit that would be in the movie. Like that's why when you went to the military, I was like, man, like it seemed unreal. I didn't understand how you could do it, and I think always in my heart it always meant you're going to go die. You know what I'm saying? Because I had left to go to college. I went to college because he's a year older than me, but he went off to the Navy, and I went off to college the year after. So I went to Atlanta, and he went in his world, and I went in my world, and we kind of like, I came back. We would see each other in those breaks, but it was a lot of time apart. So I don't really know that he moved to, which I want to move forward on. Is he moved to DC? Yeah. And became, undercover brother. We used to call him Bob Dabalina. Whenever he called, I used to start saying weird shit like the president. He'd be like, "Yo, cousin, shut up." I'd be like, "Bob Dabalina," just to mess with him. But he was I always mess it up, but I love saying it to people because I think it's dope that you did that. Like you have had a life, bro. Like you have had a life to really write about, and that people really need to hear about, because like to be able to make it through all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's a lot of stuff, man. Yeah, But tell them what you did.
Yeah, and so after being in San Diego, I think it came a point in my life, where I was really trying to figure out if I was going to get out. after having that experience, because while I was there, I experienced 3 deaths. All 3 of the deaths were people that actually I immediately worked for or worked with. One of the guys that actually we were in San Diego doing in El Centro actually, and we were doing some fly missions, and so we would travel from San Diego to El Centro. Either we would travel with caravan or whatever, but we'd all get down to El Centro and we do our exercises there. But him and another pilot were getting ready to go do a cross country trip, basically where they go over to the East Coast and then fly back over the weekend.
Right.
So during that time, I was the operations yeoman, basically operations administrator, and so I dealt with the pilots a lot.
Right.
And so on that weekend, if they're getting ready to go home, he comes into the office and he's like, "Hey, Marion," throws me the keys, and he's like, "Hey, man, why don't you want to take her home for me?" Guy just bought a brand new 5.0 convertible, and that's just the camaraderie and the love and respect they had for me, where he threw me his keys and was like, "Hey, can you take it home for me?" Instead of, and I was like, he's like, "Just bring him back to the base on Monday." I'm like, "Oh man, dude gonna give me his 5.0 convert for the weekend?" Like, okay, well, my man. But that's a relationship we had. So, to do that and then come in Monday morning and to find out that they passed away due to the fact that their plane had actually, they were on their way. They were leaving. The pilot actually had family there, and he was going there to visit some family, and they were there at the base, and he was getting ready to take off. So he decided to do this kind of maneuver where you take the jet and you go straight up in the air, and then you go into the clouds, and then you just going about your way. Well, when he did that maneuver, when he went into the clouds, he caught vertigo. So when he thought he was really going up, he was going down, and by the time he came out the clouds, it was too late. And so instead of ejecting, he tried to steer the plane into an area where nobody would get hurt, and end up killing himself and hitting some homes. So.
And you had his car?
Yeah, and I didn't find out until I came back.
Did you keep the car?
No, I didn't keep the car. I gave the car back. Nah, but rest in peace. To that guy. And Lieutenant Higgins. I remember.
Yeah, you don't forget him. Huh?
Nah, you don't.
You don't. You can't.
So you got to imagine now. I'm still like 23.
Right. And then this is not even into the
part.
This ain't even the half of it. Like, we need a 2-hour podcast for it to really tell. Yeah. But fast forward, so
then after San Diego, I actually got a call to come work at headquarters, which was in Washington, D.C. And I was it. And then one of my good friends, Robert Davis, told me at the time, who was working for probably one of the wings he was actually working for the office that was in charge of our whole air wing. And he said, "Hey man, I think this is something you need to do. Instead of getting out, take this opportunity." So went to DC, went through a rigorous interviews, background checks. When I talk about background checks, I'm talking about like
they checked us too, didn't they?
Man, they checked everybody. Everybody.
Oh man,
back to
how
school,
they check me?
Back to trust me, if there's a will, there's a way.
Oh, damn, I better stay good.
So for a while, when I first got there, I had to be like on the interim, so I couldn't work in the office. But what ended up happening is that while I was going through that process, I ended up going and interviewing for the naval representative to work in the front office for the Secretary of Defense.
Crazy.
And so I had to do an interview with the senior enlisted advisor at the time, Dr. Marshall Williams. And he did an interview with me, and great thing about this brother, he was born and raised in D.C., like in the hood of D.C. But he left D.C., went to the Army, got to the highest enlisted ranking, was a Ranger, got degrees, Ptsd. So it just goes to show you that, just because you start somewhere don't mean you got to end in that same place.
That's true.
And so, when I first went to go interview with him, I had to be, real honest with him and let him know what was going on in my life at the time. And he told me, "Hey, I like you, and I want you to be able to have an opportunity to see some things that a lot of people don't get a chance to see."
Yeah.
So after interviewing with him and having an interview with some generals that worked in the front office, and it's crazy that Jim Mattis was a colonel at the time, and he was actually the Secretary of Defense that was in the Trump administration.
Wow.
Yeah, the one that resigned. Well, he was a colonel, and he worked in our office.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and I had an interview with him, and So I ended up getting selected. And
Crazy.
so I worked in the front office for Secretary Bill Cohen for about 4 years, and then I worked with Donald Rumsfeld for about a year.
That was under the Clinton administration.
Yeah, under the Clinton administration, and I worked a year with the Bush administration.
Okay.
And so that right there was, man.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, as a black man to come from where we came from to get, you know, and Auntie Janice used to always say, you know, it was praying. They would pray, you know, like, you know how crazy our family was back then. They known in Pacoima. And my auntie was a crazy woman. Like, she was like, she's dope. She's got so much fiery energy, but she just was just like, at the time, you know, going through everything that a black woman goes through. And to have 2 sons and then me attached at her hip is always, you know, she really prayed and got you. No, I just believe that those prayers were strong, you know, and you did step into some places that we never thought, but Auntie has spoke it. Like, she spoke it, you know it.
Yeah,
she has, like, spoke it into existence. And, you know, I think that's dope. I'm always, whenever I bring somebody on the podcast, I like to say to them, you know, you've always been a high influence to me. You know, I've always looked to you for, you know, for security in the things that I'm doing as far as music is concerned, and, you know, just everything. And, you know, I love you, and I'm thankful to have you in my life as an influence, because that put a lot of fire, you know, like, in our family, it wasn't really where people put you against each other, but it was always that thing like, look at him. Look at him, he's standing next to the president. I'm like, well, shit, what the fuck? I can't even get a record deal. Like, I'm trying to get a record deal, and he's standing next to the president. You know, like, well, how am I going to top that? And then I realized, you know, now at this age, that it was never about the competition, and we didn't have that. No. Although, yo, I done fart this. I done lit this dude up several times, y'all. Man. Like, I didn't put hands on this dude.
Bit me on my lip and ran, locked the door. Oh man, it's been some wars.
I gotta put serious hands on this dude. Like, I got PTSD from that. Nah, I'm just playing. But no, that's just out of love. And you know, we're gonna take a quick break.
Right.
We're gonna take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're gonna talk to you about PTSD. All right, we're gonna get into that.
Let's talk about it.
All right, let's take a little break, right quick.
All right. Okay.
And we are back. And before we get into the interview, we are going to do my favorite thing, you guys. Do you know what time it is? Tim, do you know what time it is?
Oh, you're talking about the Snap Crackle Pop?
It is time for the crunch. This is my ASMR battle, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna use my favorite. I'm gonna use my favorite, okay? And you have to get right into the mic. But then, see, we talk a lot in ASMR. If you look at the YouTube videos, which we are gonna start posting our own funny ASMR videos.
Got it.
But if you look in the camera, you're going to go right into the camera using Crackle the Bag.
Oh, okay.
I don't hear yours. Okay, we're going to do it together, okay? 1, 2, 3, go for it.
Man, these lemon cookies is banging.
Okay, now you get one on your own. Okay. And now this is mine. Now, when you listen back to the show, I'll tell you who won. I feel like I'm about to win like this crunch one. Wait, I gotta double up.
Yeah, well, you supposed to when you got crackers going against cookies. That's the shenanigans I be talking about. See?
These ain't no crackers. These is fried
shenanigans, man.
plantain
That's some
food.
shenanigans. How you gonna say, oh yeah, okay, well, I'm gonna try mine. You're gonna try yours, and then when you go back and watch the show, then you're gonna know.
So now you
who
know.
crackles the most. Why
now you know when you come back to the bando, you got to bring your own crunch. Okay, so that's how we gonna add that to the podcast writer. When you come to the bando, you got to bring your own crunch, son.
Yeah, especially if you're taking crackers and then you got the light crackers.
Well, next time you know, man.
She got the little light ones, the little thin
Yeah.
ones. The ones that really make that noise.
Hey,
like,
this bag is probably old.
I got these big old brick lemon snaps.
My mother probably bought that bag and left it open. You know what I'm saying? It's been left open. It didn't have the initial crunch it should have had, but it's okay. That's your bag.
I only got a snack.
That's why you got your nice little juice right there.
Oh yeah.
And this is drink the juice. You can drink the juice here at Trap Boot Camp. You can drink the juice.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get started, I need to talk about my sponsor of the week. Our sponsor of the week is The Iron Revival. That's www.theironrevival.com, where you can do a kettlebell class, kettlebell club on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Guys, I'm joking around, but I have been doing this class. I work with these guys at Equinox. They are experts at what they do. You need to check it out. Go to their Instagram page. Also, they have a YouTube, and they give you deep instruction. Roger has been my instructor at the place. I shouldn't have said their name already, but at that place, and he is an expert on body movement and mechanics. Please, and also Jeremiah, they are experts at what they do. If you want to change your body with one piece of weight, go to theironrevival.com. All right, and we are back. We are back, and I'm excited to tell you guys we are with Tim Ballas Mariam, my cousin. We used to call him Yogi when we was little. I know he hates that.
Oh, wow. That's blown.
He is my Gemini brother. And, we were talking about his work. He worked for the government. He was a former assistant to the Secretary of Defense. And also, we're talking today about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I told the people a little bit earlier about, some of the things that have to do with PTSD. But, I'm really trying to understand the Black man, and I want a successful relationship, and you and I, you like my brother, and we have these conversations so much about, moving forward, and I give him advice on women, and he tells me, because we're a lot alike. Yeah. But, how do you feel like the things that happen, how you had to shut yourself off from a lot of the stuff that happened, does that affect your relationships moving forward? And is that kind of a form, do you feel like post-traumatic, like that you had a lot of trauma and it caused stress? And it could become a disorder that can hinge your life and your relationships. And that's why I say PTSD. I'm not sure if you've been diagnosed or anything like that. We're not doing any medical diagnoses when it comes to that. But I know, is that my phone? Hold on 1 second, y'all. All right. I always have alarms going off, That's one of our life hacks. But post-traumatic stress disorder, it affects everyone, and it affects your relationships. And I mean, even if you just look at it as a whole, just looking at the words, do you feel like the things that happened to you have affected the relationships that you had?
I think when you first are making that transition, you have to understand.
Mike, a little bit closer to Mike.
When you're making that transition, going from the military, depending on what you've done or whatever, going back into being in the normal world, sometimes it may be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And I think now that I look back on it and I think about some of the things I may have done, in my relationships, I can say that, it did affect.
Yeah.
In certain ways,
were you able to tell the person that you were dealing with that you were going through that?
No, because you don't want to talk about it, and I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, a lot with black men that may have PTSD.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to say that, but I just you don't really. I mean, I just really recently really started thinking about it and talking about it and actually going through those steps because there's a lot of things that you think but you really don't see it.
Yeah.
Because you're living through it.
Yeah.
And in the military, it's like your life is like go go go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still like it's a regular job in some ways, but depending on the period that you're in there and what you go through, a lot of that may have a factor, and you don't really realize it till
it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you may catch it before you leave, depending on, where, depending on where where you're at in life at that time, you may be able to catch it. Like if you've been in combat a lot and you start to see those movements and you may catch it before you get out.
Yeah.
But a lot of times when you're out, it's like you're still living life.
Yeah.
For me, I think one of the more changing experiences for me was 9/11.
Yes. What happened?
And
9/11 was.
Yeah, I mean that was something that was deep for me because I worked in that building.
Yeah. In the Pentagon.
I seen in the courtyard and I seen the bags and all that. And sometimes it just bothers me, and I think it's still to this day still bothers me.
Do you have dreams sometime about it?
Sometimes, but I notice some of the things that I do. Like I don't like working in big buildings anymore. Sometimes I feel like I have to be moving.
Yeah, this boy be walking, pacing.
Yeah, I'm like active. I gotta be active.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like certain little triggers that you notice about yourself. Far as being in that government environment, I just it bothers me.
Right.
And I think that's still to this day, but it also kind of played an effect in regards to just how I think I was in maybe some of my relationships. Because sometimes what people have to understand is that you can love and you can love hard.
Yeah.
But if you can't emotionally express that, then it's hard for your counterpart to really know how you really feel.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's like they go off of because they may not be understanding a lot about the past of what you've been through, or look at it from a standpoint of, well, maybe there's something that's triggering this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that when you approach it like that and you try to help them to understand that, then that gives them a sense of security to whereas
he can trust you
to talk to you about it.
Yeah. Because
I think when I look back at it at the times, with some of my relationships, I felt like I wasn't really honest with myself because I didn't really see what was going on. And I felt like, okay, well, maybe if I would have done this, or if I'd have been more attentive to this, or if I wasn't so marginalizing in this versus that, that it probably would have done something to help my relationship. At the same time, maybe if she would have took time to understand me.
Right.
But
you didn't even take the time to give her, to really share.
Share because I'm keeping it held in,
But that's what you've learned.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know what you've experienced, but I know that it's probably something that you have to I know they had to debrief you. You know what I mean? You work for the government. They had to.
I mean, but when you do that, you have to understand at the time, it's like you so ready to get out. You like, I don't want nothing to hold me in here. I don't want a medical hold. I don't want nothing. So you're not thinking about all the experiences that you went through. You're not thinking about, am I going to be dreaming about certain things that happened in my past? Is it going to emotionally affect me? Do I find myself, finding myself when it comes to things that I should care about or I should show emotion and I don't?
You can't, yeah.
I mean, and when I look back at the past, I can say to myself, like, yeah, I have experienced those things.
Yeah.
And maybe, in a relationship, whereas, that person may have tried to bring something to you because they cared, but to you, when you look at life and death and you look at, well, that's minimum, but it may be large to them.
Exactly.
But to you, it's like, why are you tripping over something so minimal as that? When there's so much other stuff that's going on in the world, but you know, sometimes you got to have a balance though. Yeah. Whereas you can't think like, okay, just because it's little to you in your world, that it's little to them.
Yes, and that is why it's imperative that we have this conversation, because as Black women, we need to know, we need to understand you fully. And I know that I've been in situations to where I'm super vulnerable, and I'm going to tell you about my past and my childhood, and I get nothing from the man. You know what I mean? Like, he'll just sit there and listen to your story faithfully and not say a word about his past. And that is where we start to think, well, he's not into this, or maybe he's shutting off something. And then you give us the reign to create a conclusion of our own on who you are. Yeah. And then we're like, this dude don't care. He's just like the other ones. He's probably talking to another chick, because you're not giving us back what we want. Yeah. And so in order to dismantle that idea in the Black woman, and not just the Black woman, in everyone, women in general, because I know this is not just a Black woman thing. You know what I mean? Black women ain't the only ones that had men that went to war. You know that I listened to a lot of podcasts prior to this, and they were saying that, you know, the diagnosis of PTSD is like the frontal cortex, the area that stores trauma. It's like it's scarred, and it needs to be healed.
Yeah, and that's why I think that, you know, it's important that, you know, first you have to be able to identify it.
Yes.
You know, and you got to be able to look at certain things or certain triggers that you may have or you may have had, you know, in order to be able to heal it. Because if not, then you're just going into the same cycle. You're doing the same thing over and over again, you know. And then, you know, and then you start to, the one thing you don't want to do is isolate yourself. Yeah. Because after a while, once you start isolating yourself, you know, and then on top of that, say relationship pressures, you know, and then the woman, you know, they may think that you're not trying to live to a certain standard, but those are the standards you really want to live by. Right. But the thing about them is that if you don't have that communication with them, or if you haven't been feeling secure even to acknowledge where you may be having issues, then it's hard for that person to be able to say, hey, you know, I can ride with you through it. If they don't really know what's going on, all they can do is make their own assessment of how you are and so forth, you know. So I think once you acknowledge it, that you got to talk to somebody. You got to talk to somebody. You know, you got to be able to, you know, seek out help. Yeah. You know, and I think we all, you know, people think like mental health, like, well, you talking to somebody is a bad thing, but actually, you know, it's not. I think once you get over that hump, and I used to be like that, like where, you know, it would be to a point, and I'm pretty sure women that's been in relationships with me probably would say that there'd be times where I'd be like, okay, well, you know, I'll talk about it, or there'd be a time I'll talk about it. But that's like my scapegoat for not wanting to talk about it. Basically. Now we're going to talk about it, you know. But it's subconsciously, though. Because I really want to talk about it. Right. But I just don't feel like I'm secure enough to talk about it. Right. You know? Yeah. So eventually, though, if you keep telling somebody, yeah, well, you're going to talk about it, like, nah, you ain't talking about it.
That's just my buffer to get you off my ass.
Yeah, now, you know, it's like, okay, well, I have to make my own assessment. And that's when everything just, you know. So the best thing to do is to talk to some people, because sometimes, you know, it can put you in a dark place. It really can. Yeah. You know, and, you know, when you start isolating yourself, because sometimes you feel isolated. Yeah. You know, I can feel like myself, I would isolate myself. Where I wouldn't talk to people for periods of time, you know, or
because I used to get mad at him. I used to get so mad at him because I'd be like, you only call me when you want something. But I, you know, now as I get older and I, you know, he's here with me. I see him quite a bit. We talk a lot. You know, I realize that, you know, that's I gotta give you some leeway. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. It was a period of time we was basically out of touch. You don't know what I was going through. I was married. You know, you don't know what I was going through. I don't know what you was going through. And so now we back on the other path, or the other end of that. You know, on the beginning of childhood together. We lose a patch, and now we're on the ending of that part. Not ending, but like really the middle of that. And, you know, it's a supportive system where I can tell you what's going on with me. But, you know, it's also a place where I need to hear these type of things, because I want success. We want success in a relationship. And we have to have the comfortable space to be free and tell a man or a woman how we really feel. And if they can't rock with it, they can bounce. You know what I mean? You can't hold that in, because if you hold any of that in, that's like withholding information. Later on, we get married, and then later on, you waking up every night trying to choke me. Like, what the fuck?
Nah, I mean, it ain't all like
not
that.
Like that. I'm not you, but I'm saying, like, yo, you don't know what I went through. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that who I dealt with in that situation. I don't know their trauma.
Exactly.
What was his trauma?
You don't know what his trauma may have been.
He never shared it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and I think that sometimes, I wish that, like, if you really like somebody and you feel like, okay, hey, this guy or this girl, like, they're a good person, then you gotta kind of be able to have those conversations at the beginning and let them know, like, hey,
you either gotta scare them away or pull them in.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's gonna do. Yeah. You being vulnerable and being real is either gonna make them go, oh my God, this one's crazy. Or they're gonna be like, hey, you trust me. And I like you a little bit more, and we can move to another step, and I'm gonna be safe with you. You know what I mean? And that, I think, is where we as people, not just Black people, we as people can kind of come together if we start dismantling the perceptions and the ideas that we have from these television shows and this ideas of, I'm gonna find the perfect man. At this point, that man didn't been through, like, he didn't been here. He was a pen first, and now he's a remote. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is the distance in which you're like, okay, this a path, it's a part of you that I didn't get. But also, as Black men, or men period, you have to be able to be vulnerable and share that with us.
Yeah, and it's true. And a lot of times, you have that false sense of security that, you can do it. Or I'm just, kind of speaking from my standpoint, but now that I realize that at the end of the day, everybody wants to have real love. You want to have real love. Yeah. It ain't got to be about all the other drama, And there's a lot of things that you have to put into that to allow that to blossom. Yeah. But in order for it to blossom, I think from the root of it, you have to have that security amongst each other that, hey, you guys can talk about everything. You can talk about it. Yeah. And then when we do talk about it, you can't just sit there and base your opinion on that or be judgmental, because sometimes you're doing yourself a disservice, because you really don't know, what I'm saying? You really got to tap in to really see what makes that person, before you just automatically assume, you may be going through this situation, so that automatically means that you're the outcome of this, or I've already come to this biased conclusion of what you are based on what we feel things should be. Right. And it's not going to always be like that. Yeah. But if you have a mental connection and you guys are looking to work together with each other, then anything's possible. Yeah. Everything's possible. Yeah. And there's a lot of good examples for us to see that. Yeah. But I think sometimes we just get caught up in, like, okay, I need my woman to be this certain way. Exactly. Or I need my man to be that certain way. Yeah. And if they don't meet these criteria, then it's not good. But you don't know, hey, maybe you guys may not have them all there, but there might be something in there that that's golden, and you can build off of that. Yeah. With me, like, I always have a fear that, like, because I am so, like, busy and, crazy with all my ideas and spontaneous with my, just everything, that scares a man. Like, they think that I'm not going to be tethered to the situation, that I'm always, like, that I possibly could become this big person and just forget them. You know what I mean? Like, but then I feel like that's somebody that's kind of that's not ready. Yeah, and that's probably why I'm still by myself. Yeah. I mean, and that could be a case, but there are a lot of men that don't embrace that. That you have that. Wait. Cause you sit in my way. Hey, I know you be playing, he be in here playing sometimes, playing video games with some friends online, and they had the men that they made. I was like, yo, what shall we him know? But it was the characters that they made, so they probably didn't look anything like them characters. Yeah. But you know what? Before we go, because we keep it nice and concise, but I want to issue you a personal challenge, because you are on the Trap Boot Camp podcast.
And
and this quarantine thing, and it's been driving your boy crazy.
I know. So
no basketball, so it's been.
Yes, we didn't even get into that. We don't bring you back on the show, honestly, because what you didn't know also that this dude is also currently an NCAA referee, basketball referee, and that is a conversation in itself. But you know what I'm gonna do? We are going to take this episode and maybe take about 4 episodes break, right?
Yeah.
And I am going to put my cousin through a 4-week regimen of workout. And we are going to start healing towards his future, because I think that everything that coincides with having a healed body and mind has to do with your health. And you are not the healthiest brother. Okay, not like that. You ain't fat or anything like that.
No. But you know what?
But
I was I was a lot better. I think I got kind of. Well, I mean, first of all, a lot of times we during this time of this year, I'm running and gunning. I'm on basketball courts. I'm working out. I'm doing all that,
I know.
and everything's been shut down. And I've just fell into this slump where it's like, okay, I got to get back active, regardless of the fact. Even though I honestly, personally feel we won't be having a season this year, but,
right?
But I still need for the mind to get it back trained to how it used to be, So
and I think that it's important for you to start dealing with those things. And he's so not into like woo stuff, but I'm gonna expose you during this time. I have a program that's called Fit in 21. It's on my website, and we're gonna start with Fit in 21, okay? And Fit in 21 is basically 21 days, and you are gonna, if there's positive affirmations that you say every morning, and there's kind of like a thing that you do throughout the day. And this is also going to be our life hack number 1. I'll show you. One of my homegirls, her name is I Am Jizzle on Instagram. She created a acronym, REMI. She says, have you had a shot of Remy? So I'm going to challenge you to do the Fit in 21 and have a shot of Remy every morning. And life hack number 1 is a shot of Remy. That means reading.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about some drink. I'm like, man.
Nah, dude. Right? No. Listen. This is Jizzle's thing, and it's really helped me with my clients. I hope she writes a book about it.
I'm like, man, hold up. Wait a minute. Where liquor come in to work it out? Like, damn. Like, I mean, come on.
I know, like, damn, for real, what kind of workout is this?
Shot of Remy. I'm like, oh, man, you already lost me. I'm already gone.
This is golden, you guys.
I'm out of here.
This life hack is golden, and it has helped me with my clients, and I'm going to tell Jizzle that it's really been helping. But it's reading. This is every morning, okay? Reading. And that could be 3 to 5, 3 to 10 minutes. 2, exercise. 15 to 30 minutes of exercise. And I'm training in this house every day. So you can do one of those.
I'll come through and train. Okay.
All right? Meditation, which is kind of woo-woo for you, but meditation. And the last one is yoga. Okay?
Alrighty, yoga.
It sounds like some crazy stuff, right?
All right.
But you know what? Yoga is a way that you can connect with yourself and start to realign your mind.
Connect with my inner chi.
That's something else. That's Tai Chi food.
Oh, okay, my bad. People that be trying to get on there like they know what they're talking about. Oh yeah, you mean connect with my inner chi?
My namaste. My
fool.
inner namaste.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go through a few things, and I'm gonna get you right, bruh. 21 days. So we're gonna bring him back on the show. In 21 days, I'm going to have to be mean to him, as always. That's not hard for me. But I'm going to try to be mean to him, and we're going to get this in, okay?
Yeah, we are.
And then when you come back, also, with that shot of Remy, I have a book that I want you to watch. It's called The 4 Agreements. And I'm going to give you that book. That's going to be the book that you read 3 minutes of, okay?
Alrighty.
That's like number 2, The 4 Agreements.
4 Agreements.
The 4 Agreements. And we are going to start this healing process. Because the black man is resilient. You, my brother, are of me. We are family, and we are resilient, and we have such a rich history and a beautiful future. And I want everybody in my family to be healthy. And I know that that's why the Trap Boot Camp came about. It is definitely something that's going to help a large amount of people in the community. And so I'm going to start with my family. I'm gonna start with
praises for God.
Yeah, he is definitely the creator of
our
this.
mother prayers.
Yes, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, our aunts, and everybody else. The prayers have led us to a place to where we are ready to enrich our children and the future of our children. You know, my cousin has kids, and you know, we're gonna talk about that later on. But it is like there's so many things that make you who you are.
Yeah.
And healing from the inside out.
Yeah.
Is something that's gonna affect you long to come, and the people seeing your children seeing you heal, and your family seeing you heal is healing to them, and that's what the Trap Boot Camp podcast does. We are here to help our community be healthy from the inside out. So
yeah, I like that. And you know, also I like to give a shout out to my homie Day Day out there, and all my homies at the Boulevard Park out there. Shut up. To y'all. Woo woo.
Shut up.
Yeah, you know, it's my first podcast, so you know, give a shout out to my peoples out there, man. You know, them brothers, man, they you know, they kind of helped me to make me who I am today, because they, you know, they some good guys, man.
It's crazy. In Long Beach?
Yeah, man. You know, it's kind of crazy because it's this park. There's this park in Lakewood. You know, Lakewood is kind of like it's cool. It's nice. It's not a bad area. But at this park, you have a bunch of just of everything. Like you got gangsters, you got working men, you got businessmen, you got fathers, you got generations. But every Sunday they come there and we play pickup basketball, and it's been like that for like the last 20 years.
They still playing?
And they still do it. But it's the same guys, you know. But it was good because it was almost something like a retreat.
Get away from
it's like everybody had it. I mean, because everybody's working in different atmospheres, you know, and then you got everything. I mean, but it was like on that Sunday, it didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter none of that. It didn't matter your status, nothing. We just all got there. And it was almost like a fellowship. And all through, you know what I'm saying, hooping. So, you know, that's a beautiful thing. And a lot of those brothers now, their generations that have come up,
still go to the park?
They still go to the park.
You
know, but they've went on to do other things in life, and good things in life. You know, and so it's like when they say it's a village. Yeah,
it takes a village.
You know, and that's a good thing. So that's why I give a shout out to the boys.
Yeah, give a shout out to the brothers. And share the podcast with them, because, you know, that is the goal. You know, share it with some sisters too, because we want to make sure that our entire community, not just the Black community, but our entire community needs to heal. And this is our reset time. So this is the time to do that. Do you have any any other shout outs you want to give or anything like that? Want to give a shout out to the business manager company you're working for? This person's doing so many things. You would think he had another body.
No, I think I'm good for the shout outs today.
Damn. Okay.
I'm cool with the shout outs today. No. Yeah, everybody, you know, I mean, I'm good.
All right, cool.
All my people out there, y'all know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are. We all family.
Yeah, we all family. You know, some people get over here and they just want to be, oh yeah, but you know, I do want to say what's up to, they want to start name dropping. Yeah, I want to say, hey man, I want to tell Kobe what's up. Hey Kobe, hey man, you know I'm going to get at you. I'm going to call you tomorrow.
No.
Bron, and Lil Baby. Yeah, man, holla at your boy, man. You know I'm out here. But no, we ain't doing all that.
Okay, cool. But
hey, you know, this was fun. This was good. I enjoyed doing it, and actually being able to come out and talk about something as serious as that. Yeah. And, you know, maybe that'll be, you know, hey, if it catches one person or somebody, you know, listening to it, you know, that's all to the good. Yeah. Because sometimes maybe it takes for you to hear from another person and be like, damn, I'm going through that.
Exactly.
So it's a good thing you're doing this. So, you know, keep the trapping.
That's right. You in the bando for the first time.
For the bando.
That's
right. Bando.
Trap Boot Camp podcast.
Hands down, man down.
So I just want to say my quick, oops, there we go. Ghetto equipment. Ghetto,
And that was ghetto to me. Well, you put some money into this thing.
Oh, I know. Well, I did. You know, I made some investments. And I want to talk about that right quick. So.
Oh yeah, we're stepping the game up.
Yeah, we have stepped the game up here. We see the studio. We have a little bit of lighting going.
Oh yeah.
I just want to say, you know, the Trap Boot Camp podcast, we are stepping our game up, and I am looking for an intern. So if I can get someone that is willing to work and not get paid to help me and assist me when my daughter can't, or my son can't, or my family can't.
Because she got her own life.
Yes, because They have their own life too.
And they don't want to be dealing with you.
Shut up. But we for sure want to, extend that. I can give you some blessings, but right now that's pretty much all we can do.
Yeah.
So if you do, you can go ahead and go to our website. And the phone number is at the very bottom of the page. You can give me a call. Okay, wait a minute. Hold up. We don't need you to talk back in the background.
I was trying to audition. Maybe I was going to get that spot.
No.
I can't get it?
No, you can't get that spot.
Okay.
Anyway. But we are doing, you didn't do me off. Damn, what was I saying? Look at you.
You said the
intern. We want an intern.
Intern. We need an intern.
God.
Yeah, intern.
Sorry. So I am looking for an intern. So if you have look me up online, DM me. But be serious. I don't need a boo. I'm not looking for a boo now.
No boos. Just creativity.
I need some creative partners around here. You know what I'm saying? Creative energy. You come here, you go home. You cannot stay here. I cannot pay. I cannot pay right now, but I will bless you. You know what I'm saying? You'll be completely taken care of. So let me know. And then I wanted to tell you guys to go to our website, www.trapbootcamp.com. We have enhanced our website and we have some new things on there. You guys, you can add my Amazon code and you can find the things that I love. So I'm going to start posting every week the things that I love to buy off Amazon because I'm spending so much money with them. I deserve to get some back. So you can use my code TRAP050-20 if you are looking to buy something on Amazon. But what I'm going to do is create a store where you can see the things that I really buy. Because I'm not going to tell you to buy nothing that I haven't bought. I'm not going to be in here just trying to get your dollars. That's not me. I have plenty of people that come to me and ask me to do things. I'm just learning how to monetize this podcast.
Monetization.
Just make sure that you DM me, follow me. Tell me if you have some questions. We are trying to get our questions of the week in, so
get them in.
Send me some questions. I want to tell, give you guys some advice and tell me your dirty stories. Like I want to read them. Like, come on, y'all, let's do this. Yes, let's get some demon time in the trap. You know?
You sure I can get this job, man? Because we ain't gonna have no basketball season this year, right?
I don't know. It just depends. I don't know. I don't know. I don't need no host. I be in my zone.
I don't want to be a host. I just need to say a couple things.
Let's get. we might get a segment. We might get a segment for the black man. We might get a black man segment or something.
I think I got a pretty cool voice on this mic.
No.
I ain't got it.
I think you have enough jobs. I do.
All right.
So we'll see. We'll see if we can get you maybe do the black man segment. The black man healing segment. But you will be back in 21 days.
I want to do sports.
That might be cool. Basketball.
Yeah. We need to talk sports though.
We might, yeah.
We
might do that. I might do that because I am trying to build.
Athletes, you know what I'm saying? Because I think we need to build more than just athletes. We need to start getting them to start thinking besides